I'm literally about to start my second year of college in 2 weeks, so I'm not super experienced, and I'm just talking from my experience. Hopefully this can help some of you guys out there who are a little bit nervous about college. So I do not dorm in college. I am a commuter, which means basically I travel back and forth from home to school because I personally did not want to dorm. I can't speak from a dormer's perspective either. I don't live that lifestyle. I do know a little bit about it. And I'm sure all colleges are different, so this might vary a lot, actually. The first tip is definitely check out your professors on ratemyprofessor.com if you haven't heard of that. A lot of people know ratemyprofessor.com. It's a very popular site. It pretty much allows you to check what professor you're going to have. It pretty much tells you like their teaching style. It's like based off other reviews of people who have took that class, and then you know what you need. You know if you need to get the textbook. You know if you even use the textbook. You know if the teacher is helpful at all during office hours. You pretty much can get a feel of the class and how the grading is. Definitely an important tool, especially if you're registering for classes or if you're switching up your classes. I always try to aim for, of course, the best professor of each subject, but you will end up with a professor that you cannot stand regardless, at least once in your college experience. So if it happens to be this year, then I'm really sorry for you guys. I mean, it happens to everyone. Not everyone loves their teachers. Most likely you won't like majority of your teachers. Definitely avoid the teachers that everyone's like, oh my god, it's the worst grader ever, loses my work. Avoid those teachers. Avoid them at all costs. The next tip is map out your class locations ahead of time. Like print out your map of your school, find it online if they have one, and literally circle the buildings your classes are in. Like for each day, because that really helped me out my first semester. Like I literally went the week before class start and I walked like the route I had to walk just because I wanted to know where my classes were. Of course, sometimes you can't go in the building and find your exact classroom, but at least you can figure out where you're going and you're not like lost walking around campus. Because that will make you late for class and that will make things really awkward. But a lot of people are late for class the first week, so don't worry too much about it. The next tip is specifically for my commuters out there. Definitely plan ahead for traffic, construction, and bad parking lots. Those will make you late for class. No joke. I was late for a couple of my classes, literally by like 5 minutes, but still 5 minutes is still awkward. I was always that girl like running into my communications class at the last minute, literally. Even though the teacher didn't mind that I was late, it's still an awkward thing, and you kind of want to be there ahead of time so you don't feel like you're rushing and you're not out of breath, and you know, everything's just better when you're on time. My school, the parking lots really suck. I park in a garage, which luckily has really good parking, but the general lots, like it takes half an hour to get a parking space, and that's crazy. That's why I don't park there. Next tip is specifically for dormers now, switching it up a little bit. Like I said, I'm not a dormer, so I can't say I know everything about it, but I will say from experiences that I've heard from people who dorm, pack everything. A lot of people have been messaging me on here and they ask me, what do you think I should bring? I think you should bring everything you think you'll need from home and then some. It's better to have what you need and then more than not have what you need. You know what I'm saying? I would write a list. I'm a big list type of person. Like if I'm going on a trip, I definitely like to write out a list and like try to plan ahead so I can check off everything I need. Bring, you know, all the stuff that you feel like you need certain comfort foods. Bring that. If you can, bring your microwave if your school allows that. I know my school allows that. Some people bring like TVs and like portable grills and stuff like that. And that makes life a lot easier. My next tip would be figure out what works for you study-wise. Not every studying technique is going to work for everybody. I personally am a highlighter type of person. I like to highlight things I need to read, and I like to use little post-it tabs to mark what pages are important. Depends on the class and depends on what type of notes you're really reading, but I'm definitely a highlighter. Like even if it's like on an online textbook, I like to highlight electronically. I just need that guideline. That's personally me. But you have to find out what works for you. If you study better with music on or music off, in a busy area or a lone area, you know, you just have to find your little studying habit that helps you understand whatever you're trying to learn. Studying technique that I would recommend is definitely try to read ahead if you can. It wouldn't hurt. If it doesn't work for you, then definitely don't waste your time doing it. But if it does work for you, I would. You can literally read a couple more pages than what your class is currently on before you have to go in again. It might help you understand it when the teacher goes over it, even if you don't understand it when you first read it. I would definitely say take advantage of the resources at your college. I haven't done that. I really should. But I know a lot of my friends go to the library at my college when they really need to do some hardcore studying, especially around exam time. It's definitely a good place if you really can't stay at home if your house is loud or if your dorm's kind of loud or whatever it is. Definitely take advantage of the resources, and usually there's like tutoring centers. Don't be ashamed of going to them because you will notice you are not the only one there. A lot of other people need help as well. It's not as like scary as like high school and tutoring, as some people just don't want to get tutored in high school, but college, like they have like centers for these things usually. My next tip for the people who are going to a school far away from home and they're going with nobody they know and they are going to feel kind of lonely, definitely join a club. There's plenty of clubs. I don't do any clubs personally because I don't have time for clubs. I have to swarm myself in my studies. But if you have time and you can work around your studies and still do well in your studies and go to the meetings and have like, you know, fun at those activities that they have, definitely do it. I know some of my friends from my high school who go to my college definitely joined a couple clubs and they enjoy, even though they miss a couple meetings sometimes. Next tip is a big tip for me. Bring some snacks. Literally, I prefer to throw snacks into my school bag. I wouldn't recommend bringing the really loud, crunchy chips to small lectures. If you're in a class of like 300 to 400 people, if that's the size of your lecture, then you can bring your loud chips and it's okay. But open your bag as soon as you get there. Don't like pop it open in the middle of class. It will definitely make people stare at you. And try to chew kind of quietly. Don't just munch. I recommend things that don't make a lot of noise, like Sour Patch Kids or little mini cookies or I don't know, M&Ms. Sometimes eating will help me keep my attention on whatever's going on, and if that works for you as well, then definitely keep munching, but don't munch too hard in a class that doesn't have that many people. Like if your lecture is literally like less than 100 people and you're the loud person with the chips, it's going to be kind of awkward. Show up early for exams. It's very important. I do not like being late for exams, and I will say that I have been late for exams. It's not a good feeling. Some teachers will not let you take your exam if you're late. Some teachers are a little bit nicer about that, but it's not like high school where they have to give you your test if you show up. They don't even have to let you in the class. College is a little bit more strict when it comes to that. They're very strict on deadlines, and they will not remind you on the deadlines. You really need a planner. You really need to keep all the important times and dates organized yourself because they're not as helpful, of course, in college. It's a very independent thing, but definitely don't be late for exams. It's not good, because if you miss it, then it's really going to affect your grade, and if you're late, then you're going to feel rushed, and it's also not nice for your classmates, because then you're going to have to, like, walk around them and distract them, and they probably already started their exam. It's just not a good thing. Leave your house or your dorm early if you can. Set your alarm earlier if you can, if you're dorming. Just plan ahead, really. You really, really don't want to be late for exams. You really don't. My next tip kind of incorporates the whole showing up early thing. I would say get a good seat. That's what I call it. Get the good seat, actually. The good seat for me, you'll find what seats work for you, but the seat that works for me is the seat that is literally like in the aisle. I like aisle seats. If there's 2 aisles, then I try to get on the aisle seats, just because it's really nice. You can just sit there. You don't have to be, excuse me, as you scoot through and stuff. And if you're clumsy like me, you'll trip over someone's foot or their backpack, and you will fall, and everyone will look at you. I've tripped during an exam before, and everyone stared at me. That was really awkward. And I've like bumped into like seats. I fell in someone's like leg. It's just like, it's not a good thing. I prefer to get the good seat. Everyone usually fights for the good aisle seat just because you don't have to worry about anything. And when you're done with your exam, or when you want to get up and go to the bathroom, you don't have to worry about disturbing anyone else. You literally just get up and walk down the aisle, or walk up the aisle, or whatever it is. Just find whatever seat works for you. Some people like to be in the middle of things, and I would say show up early to get in the middle seat so you don't have to like disrupt people and trip. Definitely find what seat works for you and then plan accordingly to get that seat, because a lot of people will take the aisle seat, or the seat you want, or the seat in the front, or the seat in the back, whatever you prefer. I typically like to sit like middle back. That just works for me. I don't like too much pressure in the front, but some people focus better in the front. My last tip is try to plan what you need the night before. This will help you probably not forget your paper that's due and leave it on your desk. And if you can plan out your outfit as well, rather it be your makeup that you want to do that day, or your hairstyle you're going to do, or the shoes you want to wear, or the thing you need to print out, just try to do it the night before. It's always easier if you do it the night before. And then try to put it into your school bag, or put it next to it so you don't forget it. Just try to organize everything together, because it's really not a good feeling when you leave the house or your dorm and you get to class and you forgot your book. That really sucks, or something you need. And if you are planning out, let's say, your outfit or your makeup, it will help you stay on time and, you know, move faster if everything is organized and put together the night before. So definitely try to do that. I really, really loved doing that in high school. I still do it for college. I try to pack my bag the night before, because otherwise I'm just going to grab my bag and run out the door in the morning anyway, and I will forget things. And pack extra pencils and pack extra pens, just because sometimes someone next to you will need one, or yours will break during an exam, and it's just nice to have extra things. So stuff your school bag. As long as you can carry it, put everything you need in it.